Hi guys, Bolts96 here, but the O is a 0, and in today's video we are looking at my picks for the end of season Premier League awards, but I decided to put a bit of a twist on it. Now I've set myself a limitation. I cannot pick the same player or the same team for more than one award, so there's going to be a lot of variety in this video, and it actually made it quite a bit harder to make my decisions because there's a few players who probably missed out who I might have put in for different awards, but that is part and parcel of the game. Alright guys, make sure to stick around and see who I pick for my end of season Premier League awards. Signing of the season, Casemiro. It pains me that a Manchester United player is going into this list as my signing of the season, but due to the limits that I placed on myself with this list, Casemiro was the logical option left open to me. When United signed him, I respected the fact that he had been a phenomenal player throughout his career, but I just felt like this was going in the direction of another Harry Maguire or an Angel Di Maria. Basically, a ridiculous amount of money and it just not working out. That feeling was wrong, and he has been brilliant. Casemiro has been absolutely superb and has stood out in a team that has improved their points tally by a massive 17 points this season. Special mentions to both João Paulinho and Alexander Zinchenko, who are two other players who have been absolute game changers for their club this season, but Casemiro is the winner of this pick, as without him, Manchester United would not have finished third and would not have got Champions League football. Bargain of the season, Ben Mee. Ben Mee on a free transfer was unreal business for Brentford, and I feel like that went under the radar at the start of the season. The guy was a stalwart in a team that staved off relegation, even though they usually had a lesser team and a lesser budget than anyone else in the league for 6 years. And that was usually down to the defence. Ben Mee has come in at Brentford and been a huge part in them earning 13 more points than the previous season and finishing 4 places higher. The team did improve generally, but a big part of that improvement was their defence, in which they conceded 10 less goals than they did last season. That's no coincidence. A few other players who I think were bargains for their teams were João Paulinho for 20 million and Bernd Leno for 3 million at Fulham, as well as Manuel Akanji at Manchester City, who cost only 15 million. All three of those have been unexpectedly but undeniably brilliant for their teams, and any one of them could have been this entry. Manager of the season, Mikel Arteta. This was a tough pick. There have been some brilliant managers this year. Honourable mentions go out to Eddie Howe, Pep Guardiola, Roberto De Zerbi, Unai Emery, Marco Silva, Gary O'Neill and Thomas Frank, who all worked wonders with their teams this year. Pep just continued his success whilst the other managers produced results and an end of season finish higher than anyone expected. With that said, partly due to the limitations I've set on myself with this list and partly down to the fact that it is a fair shout, I've gone for Mikel Arteta. Arsenal finished 5th last season with 69 points and were mocked, if not for yet another below par season, then for the Amazon documentary, which was basically a bit of a laughing stock. 12 months later and they finished 2nd with 84 points, only missing out on the league with a couple of missed opportunities at the end of the season. Arsenal have been fantastic this year and Arteta has worked wonders to make that happen. He improved on the team with new transfers, but he also improved the performances of the players who were already there and integrated a system which had opposition teams racking their brains trying to stop it. Arsenal's bottling it of the league doesn't change the amazing job Arteta has done this season. He deserves to be manager of the season. Player of the season, Erling Haaland. Well, this was obvious, wasn't it? I think whether you doubted he'd live up to the hype or whether you thought he'd be good, he has still surpassed everyone's expectations. The all-time record goal scorer for a single season in the Premier League in his first season and at 22 years of age. There just seems to be no stopping him, and there's not much anyone can do about it. The guy's a machine, and City are probably going to go ahead and do the treble with him being the main reason why. Young player of the season, Morgan Gibbs-White. I've always liked Gibbs-White. I've actually signed him a couple of times on career mode in the past on FIFA, but even I thought he was massively overpriced when Forest made this transfer. How wrong was I? He has been absolutely superb for Forest. I've not watched him have a bad game this season, and he is just a general all-rounder. He can defend, he can link up the play, dribble, attack. I think his performances and the way the team work around him is the reason Nottingham Forest stayed up this year. Now, Moises Caicedo, Bukayo Saka and Erling Haaland were my other contenders for this, but again, limitations of the list meant that there was only one man for this entry. Surprise player of the season, Kaoru Mitoma. From the first game he played, I thought Mitoma looked dangerous, but he has shown to everyone that he is even more than that. The speed, the energy, the quality in front of goal, and the ability to get an assist. He's been ruthless down that wing and deserves as many plaudits as Caicedo and McAllister have been getting. I don't think anyone expected much from him when he signed for less than £3 million in 2021, and I don't think his performances out on loan in Belgium last season changed anyone's minds on that. Mitoma has definitely been the surprise player of the season. Most improved player of the season, Tyrone Mings. I've seen a few pundits and journalists giving out their end of season awards, but I am seeing no mention of Tyrone Mings. Last season he was slated by Villa fans, England fans and neutrals for just not being good enough. Coming into this season, he was dropped and lost his captaincy. I'm glad to see how well he took that on the chin and used it to drive his performances this season, because he has been immense since then. Under Unai Emery, Mings has been Villa's star defender and has been a huge part of their stark improvement, which has resulted in a place in Europe for next season. Football moves fast, and the improvement from Mings to push on and step up when his team needed him this season has been incredible. He deserves more recognition for that. Overachievers of the season, Fulham. I do think special mentions need to be made to Arsenal, Newcastle, Brighton, Aston Villa and Bournemouth. No one expected Arsenal to push for the title, no one expected Newcastle to get Champions League, no one expected Brighton or Aston Villa to get Europe, and no one expected Bournemouth to stay in the league. They have all massively overachieved and have been superb, but again, my options are limited, and so I've gone for Fulham. The last two times they've been in the Premier League, they have finished 19th and 18th, and I think the same was probably expected of them again this season, but no. They've been fantastic and have finished comfortably 10th. Not only that, but before that ill-fated FA Cup quarter-final game, which resulted in large bans for Marco Silva and Mitrovic, they were actually 6th in the league and fighting for Europe. That is absolutely insane and is a huge overachievement. Underachievers of the season, Leicester City. Chelsea finishing in 12th is a massive underachievement, and I did in fact have them wrote down at first, but when I started looking more into this entry, I ended up changing my mind. Leicester City finishing 10 places off where they finished last season and getting relegated in the process is just insane. No one would have predicted how bad of a season Chelsea had, and it has been embarrassing for them, but I think it is fair to acknowledge that they have been going through a large transition this season. Leicester, on the other hand, just got relegated with one of the best teams in the league on paper. I'm still shocked that they have gone down, and I think that is reason enough for them to be my pick in this entry. I will just make a quick mention of West Ham United though, who have also been a shadow of themselves from last season, finishing 7 places worse off. Moment of the season, Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. People might think I'm being biased as a Liverpool supporter, but hey, I did pick Casemiro as my signing of the season, so clearly I'm not being too subjective. There have been a number of brilliant moments this season, but I just think this game will be remembered for a long time. Going into this game was the first time in years when Manchester United were favourites, and it was only 1-0 to Liverpool going into half time, but wow, how different the game panned out. Not just Liverpool fans, but everyone was astounded and was laughing at Manchester United that day. It was comical, brilliant, horrifying and exhilarating all in the same measure. Manchester United hadn't lost a game 7-0 for 92 years, never mind to their rivals. How can that not be my moment of the season. There we have it, guys. They were my end of season Premier League awards. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of my picks, whether they're good, bad, or a little bit of alright. If you liked what you watched, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe as well. And check me out across all my other socials. I am on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube where you're watching this video, and Twitch where I do all my streaming, all under the same handle, Bolts96, but the O is 0. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you on the next video.